What's up, YouTube? So I got asked Pat Summerall versus Curt Gowdy for voices. Who moved me more with their voice tone? This one is a real good one because Pat Summerall with John Madden was something else. And he was a great football player and then became a broadcaster. Now let's keep it 100. That cat was hitting that booze on the sides though, because he'd be like slurring and all that. And that was in the latter years. And I would hear him. But in his peak, in his prime, he was cool as could be. Had a very distinctive tone, um, knowledgeable about the game, stayed on track, and he was cool folks for a while. But we already knew what Summerall was, you know, the way it started to kind of fade. But he had a distinctive tone though. Could do strong narratives. He was really cool. It was like hearing his voice back in the day was really cool. So, but we all kind of knew what was up with that though. We knew something was off though. And then we get to Curt Gowdy, who legendary broadcaster. Um, those old bowl games, the NBC network. Cause I like the way he would say Curt Gowdy, and his tone was really cool. He had a really cool vibe, um, pretty straightforward, but he had versatility though. So did Summerall. Summerall had a comfortable ability to, you know, partner up with John Madden, and you knew where he was at, and he was pretty much no nonsense. But Curt Gowdy was pretty straightforward too, and getting a chance to just kind of look at them both and reminiscing about whose voice and whose tone and who set the precedent. It's a good battle, but obviously Curt Gowdy came before Pat Summerall, and he had just kind of like a certain natural a vibe about him. It's kind of like when I look at Vince Scully with the Dodgers. Well, it's kind of like with Curt Gowdy. There's certain people, they're like institutions. When you're watching them, and sometimes you may take it for granted, you may kind of shrug your shoulders, but you can't be in a situation where you don't look at the totality, because they both were dynamic of what they did, and it comes down to preferential style. Um, I Pat Summerall had a real cool, um, direct notion into where he would present in the football game, and I liked his tone. When it was like I said, he had a real cool tone. Kurt Gowdy had real I don't know what I want to say, animated. He had a way of saying the tone, but he always kept it within the groove. So, two of the best to ever do it. Two great NFL announcers. And it comes down to what way would I go, and it is fairly close. These things do become very, very close, because it is really kind of like whose voice and whose tone and who I go with this. And I like Summerall's voice a lot, but I Kurt Gowdy's manner of how he had projected. So I got to give a slight pinch to Curt Gowdy. But Pat Summerall was tight though, and they definitely were. When they were putting it down, you can't help but like think about them, because they definitely hit the spot as broadcasters and football announcers. So thought I would mention that real quick. But anyway, let me know who you got out of Pat Summerall and Curt Gowdy all time for football announcers. And I'm curious as to who gets picked, because they both left the last mark. Please hit like, subscribe, welcome thoughts, comments, and I do respond. Thank you. Wash your hands. Keep your mind clear. Watch out for another. Share if you like. Hit the membership. Stay safe, stay blessed, stay woke, stay free. I'm out one time. Peace.